Brewers are like chefs. They create a recipe using the finest ingredients in different combinations to produce a specific flavour or style of beer. Brewing beer is a very similar process to making bread. Similar ingredients, all natural. Beer used to be known as liquid bread a long time ago. There are 4 main ingredients in beer: water, yeast, malted barley and hops. Let's start with the malted barley, which is the most common brewing grain, although wheat, oats and rye are also sometimes used. What we need from the malted barley is sugar, and each grain of barley contains a pouch of starch. After harvesting, the barley is stored in a warm, moist atmosphere, which tricks each grain into thinking it's time to germinate. As soon as the germination process starts, the malted barley is slowly roasted, which stops the germination process and traps all the sugar inside each grain. It's this sugar we need during the brewing process. From malted barley, we get a huge range of potential flavours and colours. These develop from how long the barley is roasted when in production. The longer it's roasted, the darker it gets, and it changes flavour. So some of the flavours we get from malted barley are things like biscuit, bread, cereal, caramel, toffee, toast, chocolate and coffee, all depending on how long the grains of barley have been roasted for. Hops are like the seasoning and spice in a recipe. They provide bitterness, aroma and flavour. The place where a hop grows has a big impact on its aroma and flavour, ranging from lemon, grapefruit, tropical fruits, grassy, floral, herby, woody and spicy. Hops are a natural preservative and used to be used widely for medicinal purposes. Every brewer will usually use a combination of different malted barleys and varieties of hops to achieve the flavour, aroma and colour they want. Again, like a chef creating a recipe. With so many potential combinations, the brewing process has limitless possibilities. So how is it done in the brewhouse? The malted barley is ground into a very fine powder called grist and mixed with warm water until it resembles something like porridge. This is done in a mash tun, a bit like a huge kettle. It churns around and converts the starch from the malted barley into fermentable sugar. The liquid is drained off from this mix. It's a very sweet brown liquid called wort. The used grain left in the mash tun is dug out and sent off for animal feed. The wort is put in another type of kettle, sometimes known as a copper, where it's boiled. This is where the hops go in, sometimes in stages to add bitterness, then flavour, then aroma. The liquid is boiled for a certain length of time, depending on how the brewer wants the beer to smell and taste. After all the hops are removed, the liquid is cooled down and sent to the fermenting vessels. This is where the magic happens and the yeast is added. The yeast starts to eat its way through all the sugars and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide. Cask beers classically ferment at a warmer temperature than lagers. Cask beer is left to condition for several days in these fermenting vessels to develop its flavours. Beers, such as lagers, have all the sediment removed, are gassed up and pasteurised. These can be packaged into kegs, bottles and cans. However, we're looking at cask beer, which still contains some residual yeast and sugar, which needs to settle to the belly of the cask after it's delivered to the pub. Cask beer isn't pasteurised, so it's fresh and packed full of natural ingredients.